I remember the exact moment the words left my mouth. If you walk out that door, we're done. It wasn't meant to be an idle threat. It was a final line drawn in a life we had promised each other we'd never cross. I watched her pause, the light in her eyes flickering like a candle about to go out. And then she smiled, small, almost imperceptible, and walked past me. At first, I tried to convince myself I was overreacting. Maybe I'd been too rigid, too controlling. Maybe she just needed space. But the knot in my stomach refused to loosen. Her phone, which had been innocuous in her pocket for years, became a secret she clutched like a lifeline. Notifications she used to show me she shared. She now hid behind lock screens and excuses. It started subtly. A missed call here, an unexplained text there, a laugh too quiet, a glance too swift when I entered the room. I'd catch her stare at her phone, and when I asked, she'd smile and brush it off. Just work stuff. But the tone didn't match the words. There was a tremor in her voice I hadn't heard before, and it gnawed at me. I tried to push it down, tried to believe in the years we'd built. But doubt is patient. It waits. One night, I saw it just by accident. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. I shouldn't have looked, but curiosity and dread wrestled me into a confession I wasn't ready for. There was a string of messages that weren't meant for me, words of intimacy, laughter, plans. My heart stuttered, then broke in slow, sharp shards. She wasn't just talking. She was choosing someone else. I confronted her in the kitchen the next morning. Sunlight poured through the blinds, hitting the mess of dishes between us like shards of glass. "What is this?" I asked, voice barely steady. She froze, eyes wide, mouth open, and then closed. She didn't speak. She didn't deny. She just let the silence answer for her. I didn't mean for it to happen," she finally whispered, her voice cracking, fragile like porcelain. "It's just he's been there when you weren't." Her gaze avoided mine, and every word felt like a needle digging into my chest. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand that she undo it all. But nothing could erase the betrayal etched into that digital thread. I wandered through the apartment, touching objects she had once held in her hands, tracing the contours of our life that now felt like someone else's. The coffee mug she left on the counter, the jacket she'd carelessly thrown over the chair, the smell of her perfume lingering faintly in the hall. It all stabbed at me. Memories I used to smile at now twisted with bitterness. The quiet mornings we shared felt staged. The laughter we'd had, rehearsed. Yet, beneath the anger, beneath the sting of betrayal, I still felt something for her. Love doesn't vanish in a single moment. It doesn't immediately turn to ash. I remember the first time she laughed at something stupid I'd said, the nights we'd stayed awake talking about nothing, the gentle brush of her hand on mine in the dark. That part of me, the part that believed in us, clung to hope even when every fact screamed otherwise. We talked, finally, not shouting, not accusing, but in tremulous honesty. She admitted her guilt, her loneliness, her fear that I would never understand. I admitted my hurt, my anger, and my disbelief that someone I trusted could feel so far from me while living in the same house. There was no resolution, only recognition. A painful truth that we couldn't undo what had been done. When she walked out that door, I didn't stop her. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I let her go because the man I needed to be couldn't tether himself to betrayal. She turned back once, eyes glistening, and in that moment, I felt everything collapse and solidify at the same time. I grieved, yes, but I also understood that self-respect isn't built on vengeance. It's built on letting go, even when your heart is screaming. I stayed behind, the apartment echoing with absence, the air heavy with what was lost. And in that quiet, I found something I hadn't felt in a long time. Clarity. Pain, yes, but clarity. Life would rebuild itself, slowly, deliberately, without lies, without shadows. And maybe one day, I'd remember her with something softer than betrayal, a chapter closed and finally at peace.